Hello, welcome to Twitchy. We're making a podcast.
Our very first one.
Our very first one. I'm a podcast virgin. I've never done a podcast before, but
I wouldn't say I'm a connoisseur. But we have one other one. But it's that one's a little chaotic. I don't know if you've watched Be Less, but that one's kind of
I just love the name Be Less. It's so cute. But
we came up with that while we were delirious. And then we filmed Delirious, so it kind of makes sense.
Slay. I love that so much.
But it is a lot of delirium, that one.
I feel like delirium and delusions is what you need to like create content.
That's so true.
It's like oddly true, but
there's something about sitting in drag though that after about 15 minutes, if no one's handing you $1, you're like, why am I doing this?
Literally. Okay, so I'm not a drag queen. I've never performed in drag, but I've been practicing drag for like a YouTube series I'm doing. And like it took me 2.5. Okay, first of all, I did my first run through of drag months ago, and it was awful. I did so bad.
No, I felt like, was it months ago? It felt kind of recent. Has that long gone by?
October. That was when I had the yellow wig. It was like a bright yellow wig.
Yeah, I thought you did a good job.
Oh, well, you and you.
For your first time covering brows? Oh, girl.
Oh, I severely underestimated how difficult brows were going to be.
You did a good job.
It's like, thank you. I was like, oh, I was worried about the contouring. I thought the contouring was going to be the death of me, especially because I was doing, I'm doing, replicating other drag artists' looks, you know? Yeah. And Deer has such a precise contour, you know? And I thought that was going to be the death of me. And I was like, I felt gaslit and betrayed by all of these queens who were like, pads and tights are the worst part of drag. No, it's covering the brows. And everybody takes 10 years to cover their brows every time they get in drag. Every single time.
I probably spend 45 minutes on just covering my brows. Like, that is the longest process, but that is not my least favorite part. Everyone thinks it's the 6 pairs of tights or the pads, or I wear 4. I don't do a chest plate because poor. So what I do is I wear 4 bras.
Boobies, right?
I have a little bit of boobie, more than maybe most drag queens, especially here. So I wear like 4 bras, and then I'll do like chicken cutlets, to kind of like lift them up. That's not even my least favorite part. My least favorite part is nails. I hate wearing press-on nails. Yeah. And that's what everyone thinks would be so easy for me. They're like, I've had so many queens be like, oh, it must be so nice. Like, you can just go get your nails done. I'm like, I have man hands 24/7.
I also have man hands. Don't look too closely at them.
I'm typing all the time. Like, I hate having nails on.
Yeah.
That's my least favorite part.
I feel like maybe I'm calcium deficient, but I feel like my nails chip, you know? And then they look uneven and unkept. It's a mess. I also like scratch and like pick at things. Yeah, I'm a picker too.
I hate having stuff on my nails. So that's my least favorite part of drag. It's not the shoes or the tights or I wear a corset. That's not even the worst. It's if I have to put on a fake nail.
I've never worn a corset before.
I just started, and it's a little crazy.
Yeah.
Damn, do I feel skinny?
My favorite is there's a TikTok sound that's like, you bring the forces, I'll bring the whatever. Nobody wants to waste over. And then they 9 inches. They do it with squishmallows.
Yeah.
Squishmallows, and they're so funny. I love it so much. It cracks me up every single time.
That's how I feel when I get tied into my corset for drag. I'm like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
New woman.
Truly.
I got a cheap one though. I need to like invest in a nice one. Mine was like $8 from Shein. Like, pretty cheap.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I've heard people get stuff off Amazon, and I'm like, maybe a corset is too intense for me right off the bat. Maybe I start with like shapewear. Maybe I start with like Kim Kardashian Skims.
If I don't recommend a corset for everyday wear or like really anything. That's why I bought like a cheap one. But I'm a little bit of a bigger gal, so I don't really trust Amazon unless it's like specific plus size. I've been burned.
Anything anymore. I've been burned too many times. It's like I feel like sometimes the Amazon it'll say people your size usually buy this size in this item. And then I'll be like, no, that seems incorrect. And I'll go like 2 sizes up and it's still
Yeah.
like 4 sizes too small. And then sometimes I'm like, no, this seems about right. And then it'll be huge, sizes. They're women's sizes. It's so inconsistent and frustrating.
I do like when there are reviews. If there are a bunch of reviews and I'm like, all right, maybe I'll try it.
Reviews, and then I'll go through the pictures and I look for somebody who either has their weight on there and I'll be like, I think I'm about that. I haven't weighed myself in 2 years. Is that a controversial statement?
If you asked me how much I weighed right now, I would have no idea.
Literally, I had to get my driver's license a couple months ago. And they were like, all right, what's your weight? And I was like, I have no idea. And they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, I haven't weighed myself in 2 years. And he was like, 180. And I was like, God bless you, man. God bless you.
You're like, hell yeah, put 180.
But,
put that right down.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll on Amazon, I'll go through the pictures and I'll be like, oh, she's got some junk in the trunk. Okay, maybe this will fit me, But
I would have told him, I was like, you gotta be too something to do something.
I love that. What's her name on TikTok?
That boutique.
Yeah. That boutique it's like in North Carolina or something like that. I saw a video where somebody who was thinner came in and they were like, "Are you too something?" And she's like, "I am, I promise." And they're like, "Turn around, let us see." And they were like, "You might be on the border, but we might be able to hook you up." It was so funny. I was like, "Yes, slame the skinny people."
That's like one of my favorite. I love saying that to people. You gotta be too something to do something.
Too something to do something. But okay, so this is Twitchy. Marv and I are here. I am Trauma Queenie 32 on Twitch and most socials. And I'm here with Marvelous, a drag queen, Twitch extraordinaire.
I am sorry to disappoint. I am not in drag today.
That's okay. You're totally fine. But this is Twitchy, and we're gonna talk. We're calling it Twitchy because I want to talk about content things, Twitchy things, but also we have ADHD. We're neurodivergent up in here, and so we we get distracted. So Twitchy, right? I feel like that's it.
It made sense in our heads.
Yeah. This is gonna be our first episode, so I figured that we would do a little like intro to us. So I prepared, I don't know how many questions. I wrote these a long time ago. I prepared 20 questions.
Ooh.
But we can just go with the flow, whatever we want to do.
I came in stupid unprepared.
Girl, no. You're doing a lot. I literally went out to lunch with Fudge today, my partner, and I was like, I don't know how I hit the fucking lottery, like working with Marv on this, because you're like, oh, I can edit. Oh, I have all the podcast stuff. Oh, I can make overlays. And I was like, well, I was kind of thinking this look, and you did it right then and there. And I was like, girl, okay, let's go.
We do look really cute in this overlay.
So the first question I have is, what is your name and how did you get it?
Are we both answering these, or you want me to go first?
We can, yeah. You can go first.
My government name is a mouthful, like most southern women. I don't know if anybody can tell, but I am here in the South. I'm in sweet home Alabama right now. So I have like one of those
Southern Christian woman.
Oh, she's so sometimes it's country instead of Southern. I'll like listen back to some of my clips and I'm like, oh girl.
Yeah.
The twang comes out. But I have like one of those double names. Like my government name is like a 2-name, like a Sarah Beth. Like it's 2 parts. Yeah. So they like shortened it when I was little, and then like they tried to get me like letters when I was a little girl to go over my door, but they like they like grabbed the wrong ones, which was like funny to them. So it was Marv instead of like
cute.
What it was supposed to be. So Marv was a nickname that I had with my family growing up. And then when people would hear my family call me Marv, they're like, oh, yeah, that's easier to say than your name. So then everybody would just call me Marv. And then when I started doing Twitch, I was like, well, I don't want to use my government name. I'll use my nickname. And then when I started doing drag, I was like, it'd be cute. Marvelous.
Yeah. That is super cute.
Yeah.
So My government, I don't care if people know my government name, but I do genuinely and generally prefer to go by Queenie. Um, my my government name is Hannah, and let me tell you, I was raised Mormon, and
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, when I tell people, it's so funny, especially in the queer community. When I tell people, they're like, I literally told somebody a couple weeks ago, and they were like, "Oh my god, you're like a zoo animal to me." Like, and they were so interested, and I was like, "Well, I think in most contexts that phrase might be offensive, but here it's fine, I guess."
I
Um,
love I didn't know that about you. My partner's like
yeah.
obsessed with the Book of Mormon. Like he flew to Chicago to go see the play cuz didn't want to wait 2 months until it was closer to us.
Oh
Like
wow.
obsessed. He just loves
Yeah.
musicals in general too, but like he loves Book of
I've
Mormon. So.
never seen it. But yeah.
I haven't
So
either.
I grew up
He didn't take me to
Mormon.
Chicago.
That bitch. Kidding. So yeah, my parents, like, I grew up in a really hyper religious environment, but so my name was going to be Whitney, and that was like the name my parents had picked out, and then a week before I was due to be born, I breached. So my mom was like 9 months, 10 months pregnant, right? And then I did a full somersault in her belly, and she said it was like some of the worst pain that she'd ever had in her life, which, like, I can't even imagine. But when I breached, when I turned around, my umbilical cord got wrapped around my neck and my arm. So I say I've always loved my right arm. It saved my life. Actually, I don't know if it was my right arm, but anyway.
You got a
So
50-50
this,
chance.
yeah, I'll just switch back and forth every once in a while. But so this was back in like the, not to age myself, in the early '90s, or 2000s. I'm so young. I'm just kidding. Um, C-sections weren't as common as they are now, right? So
Right.
my parents decided to be good Christian people, and they prayed on what they should do, and like if they should go with the C-section, or if they should go with like a vaginal birth, and they were reading in the Bible, and I think it's First Samuel chapter 2. I should probably know. But it's the story of Hannah, and she was a barren woman, and she really wanted a child in the story. And she like goes to a temple and is like so distraught that people think she's drunk, which, like, slave, right? And she's not drunk, but she's just, talking about how much she wants to have a child. And in the story, God makes her a promise that, like, she'll have a child, and she does end up bearing a son, and he becomes a prophet or somebody important. I don't know.
Hmm.
But they took a lot of comfort in that story and decided to go with the C-section. And then I was born, and I'm, for the most part, normal. All of my issues came later. But they decided to name me Hannah after her in the Bible. Um, but to everyone who may or may not be watching this, I do generally prefer to go by Queenie. My internet name is Trauma Queenie 32, which I got that name because I am a nurse by trade, I like to say, and I would also do roller derby. And I was trying to come up with a roller derby name, and my partner was like, "What about Trauma Queen?" Because, like, it's kind of a play on words with drama
Yeah.
queen and stuff. I was like, "Oh, that's super cute." So, and 32 is the number that I had on my team. That one of my best friends from when I was a child, she had the number 32, and she, like, retired it and gave it to me. It was cute and symbolic. But then when in 2020, when the world exploded, I was on Twitch. I was on Twitch before that under a different name, but I switched it to Trauma Queenie 32. Well, first it was Trauma Queenie, and then, this is a long story. I feel bad. It was Trauma Queenie, and then I changed my name to prank somebody one time, and it ended up getting stuck for 2 months as a gag name. And then after 60 days, I was able to change it on Twitch. But you can't go back to your old name because your old name gets locked for 6 months. And so I had to be Trauma Queenie 32. And Trauma Queenie might be back, but it might not be. I don't know. I gave up. I gave up hope. So
I
that's
like
how
that
I
there's a
became
story
Trauma
with
Queenie
the
32.
number though. It wasn't just like a random number you picked.
Yeah. And my favorite number is 23. So,
Oh.
32 is right there. It's there. But yeah, that's the first question. I love asking like queens and like especially like Twitch people how they get their names because it's always something. It's never like a I just liked it, you know, it's
Yeah.
like a I hiked a mountain and I saw goats and the goats said to me, you know, like it's always something. It's never just, you know, something simple. But
Yeah.
okay. Question number 2 is where are you from? Which you kind of answered already.
I am like a tour of the South. I was born in Tennessee, lived in North Georgia, lived in South Georgia, lived in Middle Alabama, lived in Florida, live in North Alabama. So I think
Oh
I've got
wow.
to like start racking in the Carolinas and like maybe Missouri to like kind of like
Just round
complete.
out the bottom quarter of the US, yeah.
Yeah, I got to collect all the infinity stones of the South. So I'm almost there.
Exactly.
But this is
Yeah.
the longest we've lived in one spot in like 8 years, and we've just been here 2 years.
Oh
So like we
wow.
like all of the like that I just named, like we're like a year in each place. Like the last couple of years, we were kind of all over.
Yeah. I've lived in 9 states and then I've moved around a bit in each state. But I was born in Ohio. I've lived in Georgia, Florida, Utah, California, Nebraska, Idaho, Arizona, and Washington.
Which was your
Um
favorite?
they all have like their own unique things. Like I this is stupid, but I love the Arizona license plates. It's an opinion that probably a lot of people have never thought of,
Is
right?
it a
Like what's your
sunset? Is that the sunset?
it's like a sunset and it's got purple cactuses,
Yeah.
cacti. It's gorgeous. Where like the Nebraska is literally somebody masturbating. So like they call him the sower and he's sowing his seed. I'll send you a picture of it right now.
Yeah, that's sad. Nebraska.
He's literally sowing his seed. And like the euphemism's right
Oh,
there.
Nebraska. Georgia's are kind of
Truly.
cute. They have like the peaches, and then they have like
Oh
a
yeah,
few
yeah.
of the
And
sunsets.
they kind of remind me of Florida's because Florida has the oranges.
Yeah, with the palm
But
tree.
yeah. But yeah, I genuinely don't remember where I might be able to find like in my baby books and I'll let you know, but yeah, genuinely I don't remember. And then lived in Tampa. My dad still lives there. But oh, you asked how old I was. So I was born in Ohio, lived there for 2 months, and then we moved from there to Florida. And I lived there from the time I was like 2 months old till I was 4.
I hated Florida. That was my least favorite place to live. But we didn't live anywhere near Tampa. We were like North Florida, like in
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And that's
I
crazy.
think my spouse always says he has all these little like taglines and one of his is like in Florida the more north you go, the more south you get.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's we lived in Tampa and it like Clearwater's pretty, you know, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of like
Panhandles, like at least there's stuff to do. North Florida
yeah,
is just crazy. We hated
yeah,
it.
a lot of drug addicts, I feel like. But
That's where we lived during the or like right when the pandemic hit.
oof,
Yeah.
rough. Yeah, I didn't really like Nebraska. Nebraska has kind of like a Midwestern charm. It's like people from the Midwest get it, but everywhere else, it like you just don't quite understand what the Midwest is like. It's like yeah, it's just boring, but there's like a charm about it, you know? It's like you get the seasons and there's something like it snows a shit ton, right?
I feel like
And
it's similar to the South and where it's like it's a simple place.
yes, it's a simple place with terrible weather. Cuz in the south you don't get as much snow, I don't think.
Well, we got snow
Um
this like last week, which was like surprising, but people act like that's Armageddon.
yeah, that's how it is here in Seattle. And Dan and I, Fudge and I are like, um, it snowed half an inch, and everyone's freaking out about it.
Yeah.
In Nebraska, it has to be negative 40 degrees long enough, and then they'll cancel school. They don't cancel school for snow. They cancel it because it's too cold for children to wait for the bus. But
Oh, if the news says the S word, it's like everything's
yeah.
canceled, bread and milk are out at Walmart, like every man for himself. It's crazy.
Okay, the next question I have was your coming out story.
Ooh. I mean, I feel like everybody, I have like a few.
Yeah.
Like I knew in like middle school, like when when like everyone starts hitting puberty, like you kind of realize you're like, oh, like I don't think I'm like everybody else.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
then like you find other people who are also kind of like you, and then like you confide in them. So like I think I remember the first person I told was like a guy in middle school who was gay, and like
Hmm.
his was not as his was an easy tell. And
Yeah.
then high school, like friends, I would like close friends, I would tell like people I was in relationships, obviously would I would like tell. I didn't come out to a family member until last year, and that was my brother. Because my
Mm.
brother and me were only 3 years apart, so like we're closer in age than my sister, who's like
Yeah.
we're like 15, 16 years apart. And then one of my aunts knows, and like my brother and my aunt know like I do drag and stuff, and they're are supportive. Um but like now that I'm like I've like found like my community here, like locally and like online, like I'm out in the open.
Yeah. For sure. And how do you identify on the spectrum?
Bi is easy to explain to people who don't know. Pan is also fine because I really don't see like a huge differentiate between like bi and pan. I think it's just more like what you want to identify as or the term you want to
Yeah.
use. But queer is also easy. I don't mind saying I'm
Yeah.
just like a queer woman. Like that's
Queer
also
was the
fine.
first term that I felt like comfortable. It felt non-committal. And in true bisexual fashion, I am scared of making a choice. So um but yeah, I totally feel that. I feel like that's really valid. I It should have been obvious. Like now looking back, I'm like, oh my god, I was so fucking gay, you know? Like it was I literally have I'll show you some of the pictures, I'll send them to you. But like I made a TikTok about it because it's so obnoxious. There's one picture, it's me. I have the side swept bangs, the like dark, just harsh eyeliner, right? And I'm wearing this like striped shirt and I'm like taking this selfie and I'm like, oh cool, whatever. And then it occurred to me when I was looking at the picture one day, it was my stepbrother's shirt that I found like in a closet somewhere. And I just was like, this is mine now. Like I'm literally, wearing men's clothing just out and about, just being so gay, but being like, I like boys. But similarly, I feel like the other queer people in my school knew before I did because I had what I thought was the biggest crush on this guy because he was super nice first of all, and then he loved Disney and I like Disney. And so I like told myself I had a crush on him, and I told him one day I was like, "Hey, I think I have a crush on you or whatever." And he was really nice about it. He was like, "Oh, I'm gay." It was like, and I was like, "Oh." And he's like, "But I think you are too." And I was like, "I should have known. I should have known when another gay person is like, girl, you are gay." And or like you're queer for sure. But I didn't.
Usually
I
those are
also
the
think,
first people to notice, or the ones who were
yeah,
like,
they're like, you're one of us. But yeah, I didn't like come out to myself. I feel like I there were times where I felt like I had a crush on a person, like on a girl, and I would be like, "Oh, maybe I have a crush on a girl." But then it would be like anybody would say like, "Are you sure?" And I'd be like, "I don't know." Like, don't question me. I don't know. I don't know. No, probably not. I don't know. But also like I grew up in such a hyper religious environment where it was like,
right.
and also so like it wasn't even like a like maybe you're gay. It was like you cannot be gay, like you cannot be queer, there's no room for that. And then I also just had so much other stuff going on that I feel like I didn't really have space to even consider the option, really until I downloaded TikTok in 2020. Like I had done like so gay. I did roller derby before I was like out of the closet, and
Oh,
everybody
that
in
was.
roller derby is like, everybody is like, I played softball in high school. Like I was short
Roller derby
front
should have been one of your
yeah,
clear indicators.
literally. And like there's just so many so many indicators now that when I look back and like I'm like I was one of those people who when I heard like maybe it was Adam and Steve instead of Adam and Eve, I like posted about it on Facebook like I like this. And my mom came in and was like, "Did you know that being queer and supporting the LGBT is against the church?" And so I like and I think I ended up deleting the post or whatever just cuz it was easier to not be, confronted with that.
Yeah.
Um but like that there was just so many indications. But yeah, I downloaded TikTok in 2020 and it was like lesbian, thirst traps, bisexual. And like it was the transformations that people would do where they would be like the pirate the pirate transformations where it was like a person would be dressed as a pirate and like either in one gender and then they would transition to the other. And I was like, you're hot both ways. And like, wait, what the fuck does that mean? Because here I was, this married woman, married to a man, like, and we were Mormon when we got married, um, and now I'm like, oh, am I gay? And what does this mean for everything else? But luckily, I like my spouse is very amazing and very understanding. But yeah, it was shortly after that I was like, oh, I'm queer, and now it's doesn't feel special to say, but
Well, it's also harder when you come later in life, like into the community,
yeah, for
that you
sure.
feel like you've missed out on a lot and it's like you're playing catch up. And I think that's
Yeah,
why I was like not super into like doing drag. Like it made me nervous to like do drag and stuff, but like my partner like definitely doesn't want me to feel like left out of like the
yeah,
LGBT plus community just because like we're obviously in a hetero presenting relationship. Like people don't look at us on the street and be like, those are queers.
yeah.
Sometimes depending on how I dress, maybe they are a little confused. But
Yeah,
he really
true.
pushed me to like be in LGBT spaces, like be more involved in the community, and like I think that's the support kind of that people need to like even if you come out later in life to
For
still feel
sure.
like you're a part of the scene.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I feel like there's some people who are really comfortable in like queer spaces and drag and in queer spaces on Twitch and stuff. And then I feel like there are some people who are like still gay but or still queer but like don't really like drag. And I
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like I love our community so much. There's definitely things that could be improved upon. And I think one of those things is being accepting of queer people despite their interests. Like a person is still gay and is still part of the community if they like WWE and not drag. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
whatever your interests are, it doesn't invalidate you. And I feel like that was something I was scared of, like being in a hetero presenting relationship. And especially because I feel like there were so many people who came out during COVID where I saw not many, but I saw a few things that were like all of these bisexual girls coming out because it's trendy. And I was like, girl, no, you don't get to say that to me. Like, I spent months just bawling my eyes out because I thought I was going to hell for being bisexual. And I remember like being scared because there are some people who like
Well,
they
statistically, bi people make up the majority of the LGBT community. There are more people who are bi
yeah.
than
And like also like I was a straight woman when I married my spouse, and like just despite even though I was married, like I could have lost my spouse. Like people do lose their spouses over stuff like that. They come out of the closet and their partner's like, I didn't sign up for this. And like that's scary. And it took me like now looking back, it was silly because my spouse has always been really supportive, but like it's still a scary thought that other people aren't as lucky. Like other
right.
people they come out to their spouse and their spouse tells them to get lost. And like that is a scary and but still valid part of the community.
I remember the first
Yeah.
time I came out to my partner Arturo. Like it was right when the very first time I'd heard the term pansexual, and it was because Miley Cyrus had just came out as pansexual, and like that term wasn't really popular. And so like people were like, "Oh, Miley Cyrus is pansexual. What does that mean?" And then like the definition of like what being pan was out. And I remember we had only been dating for like maybe like a week or two, and I like maybe like a little bit longer, but I hadn't like really fully come out to him. But like other people in our friend group, like I was obviously like bi, like everybody knew that. That wasn't really like a secret I was keeping. But I remember sitting next to him and like reading about like Miley Cyrus coming out, and like I remember reading him the definition and being like, this really has like struck a chord with me. Like I've never heard this definition. Like I really resonate with it. And the first thing he said out of his mouth was, I am so happy for you that you now have a word to like associate with how you feel and like how you identify. And I was like, all right, like I like
Yeah, it's
you.
so
Like you can
good.
stay
Yeah,
around.
for sure. Yeah, I love that. I love when something like melds with you. It's so validating to me. I
That
feel
like
like,
aha moment.
yeah, where
Yeah.
it clicks and you're like, oh. And I feel like it's not necessarily just having a like a label, but also knowing that other people identify with this label. Like you're not alone in how you
Yeah.
feel, you know? I think that was something I was really worried about, like coming out as bisexual and coming out as queer, being like, but I'm still married to a man. Like I still have all of the benefits of being like in a hetero presenting relationship, you know? Um, but then I realized that like there are a lot of bisexual women on Twitch who are married to men, you know? And like we're still valid and we're still queer, you
Right.
know?
You don't want to
Like it
think of
doesn't.
it as much as like something that invalidates your sexuality, but think of it more of like I kind of associate it with like white privilege. Like I
Yeah.
can walk down the street and hold hands with Arturo without getting hate crimed. Like I can walk into a
Yeah.
store and no one think I'm like, shoplifting or like something ridiculous that like POC
Yeah.
people have to go through. So I kind of like equate it to that of like it's not so much like like it doesn't make me less gay that I'm with a man. It just gives me more privilege to be able to like walk around and not get hate crimed.
Yeah, for sure. I think the hard part for me is when people like in queer spaces, it's annoying when like there's been times where we'll go to a drag event because we're friends with drag queens. We like drag. And like
Some of us.
um I feel like there's so much gatekeeping when it comes to drag. Like being a woman at a drag show, people hate. Being a woman, like you can
Girl.
speak to this more than I can because like being a woman in drag, like you get there's so much hatred and so much gatekeeping and rudeness that comes with that. And then like you throw like being I'm gay. Like I am entitled to be in queer spaces as a queer person, you know? Um, but like I'll be in a queer space and people will walk by and under their breath be like, it got really hetero in here. And I'm like, I'm fucking gay, you know? Like, and I feel like every queer woman that I've talked to has had a similar experience where they're just vibing and somebody says like Holly was just talking about it on her stream where she went to go tip a queen at a drag show and somebody was like, no, you have to be much more forceful and like showed her how to tip and she was like,
Girl, I think Holly knows.
like
I think
I've
Holly
fucking
knows.
tipped a drag queen before, like, and even if you hadn't, like, you don't have to teach something, like, anyway, it's a whole thing, but yeah, like, that stuff is annoying. And then I also, like, there's a certain, like, subsection of that argument where people say, like, if you're not queer, or, like, people have harsh words for a queer person who brings their straight spouse. Like if you're a bisexual man and you bring your wife or your girlfriend, like you're in a hetero relationship, your person is considered like might identify as hetero, and then you bring them, like they don't think they should be at pride events or in queer spaces. And I'm like, but I don't think that's true. Like you don't like to me, I feel like there's things that are like closed practices when it comes to like religion or cultural things. Um, but like if you're a supporter, if you're an ally to the community, like like Dan has done a lot to support me as a queer person and other queer people on Twitch and in real life. He supports drag queens, he supports black drag queens specifically. A lot of the time, like he's earned his spot to be there. And I feel like a lot of people say things like, you have to earn the title of ally, and it's like, but you don't always know who has earned
Right.
the title of ally, like from the get-go.
You don't
And
know
like,
anybody's reasons for being there, or like anybody's backstory, or like what they've gone through.
yeah,
Like, and if we're gonna be an accepting space, like I just don't. Why are we gatekeeping?
yeah, and like I can understand people not wanting places to be taken over, but I feel like the people who are in these spaces, like the people who identify as hetero or who are hetero in these spaces, they're not there to take over. They're there because their friends are there. They're there because their spouse is there. They're there because they're supporting queer culture and queer lifestyle, like they're not there to take over.
Right. Oh, like
But
2 or 3 months before our like pride parade we have here, like Arturo had ordered like a buy wife energy t-shirt off of TikTok. Was like he walked with right next to the queens, and like all of our pictures in the parade, it's like all of the drag queens and Arturo in his buy wife energy
yeah,
shirt.
I ordered fudge, or I ordered Dan some by wife energy shirts, or I got him a shirt that says, it spells out pride in sign language in the alphabet,
Oh.
and it's in like bisexual colors and stuff. And he was wearing his by wife energy shirt for Pride weekend here, and there was a guy with his by wife in the same shirt, and I was like, we need to track him down. You need to take a picture together. But we didn't end up catching up to them. But
Arturo
yeah, it was
loves coming to like the queer spaces that he can. Like he's at every show, front row. Like
yeah.
he even like before I started like doing drag like here locally, he would like fold the dollars into hearts and like tip the queens that way. So when I started doing
That's
drag
so cute.
and like coming to the scene, people like my friend Dolly, who's like my drag mom here, she would like introduce me to the other queens and be like, she's the one whose husband makes the heart dollars, and everybody would be like, oh my god, that's him.
So
Like
cute.
like everybody had
I
like
love that.
saved their heart dollars. Like every time I go to queens houses now, before I met them, I like walk into their houses now that I know them, and they have the heart dollars like pinned on their wall that me and Arturo like used to give them at shows. Oh, he
Adorable.
loves the attention. It's an attention thing. Because
I love it.
now that I'm performing and I'm like, all right, Arturo's front stage, like front and center by himself sitting at a table, he gets all the attention, all of like the love. Like
Yeah.
that's why
Dan
he
is a
comes.
Dan, he doesn't mind he doesn't like the attention. He doesn't seek it out. But like he's 6'4", burly, bearded
Yeah.
bear,
Yeah.
and like, he gets hit on, and he'll be like, Queenie, this guy said this to me, but I don't know if he was flirting with me or what. And I'm like, dude, he was totally flirting with you, and like, get it, like.
Oh, Arturo eats it up. He's like, guess who bought me a free shot? I'm like,
it's so funny. Like we were like regulars at this one bar, and this one bartender just loved him, and would like give him free drinks and call him like sweetie and hun and stuff. And we'd been going there for like a few months, and I think the bartender at a certain point had like picked up that maybe he wasn't gay. And the bartender, like, he went to go get a drink, and the bartender was like, are you straight? And he goes, yeah. And the bartender like turns around and was like, damn it. And I was like, you can still flirt with him. I don't mind.
oh, I've had queens come up to Arturo like and be like, please tell me you're gay. Please tell me you're bi. And Arturo's like, sorry, that one over there is like my wife. And they're like, But it's his own fault. He folds them the dollars. He eats it up. We're both Leos.
Yeah.
So like
I love that.
he loves the attention he gets at shows. And he definitely has favorite queens here that are not me. I'll be like, what was your favorite performance of like the show? And he will name like all of these queens. I'll be like, so where do I land in there? And he'll be like, oh yeah, no.
Yeah, he's like, you're fine.
He's like, oh no, of course.
Yeah.
He's like, but you didn't do a cartwheel.
Bitch, I've never done a fucking cartwheel.
Never in my life have I done a cartwheel. I was like, I guess I'll never be your favorite queen.
True. You're like honestly fair, I haven't done a cartwheel. I can't do the splits. I'll just jiggle my titties at you and hope that's
I feed him. I guess that's about it. Every once in a while I'll cook dinner. That keeps him here.
So the fourth question is, how did you find drag?
Ooh, I feel like most people like YouTube. I remember like high school, like YouTube after like, like coming to terms with like I am queer, like, started searching out those spaces and stuff, and then you, like, stumble upon queens on YouTube, and then you're like, "Oh, there's a whole show out there with content like this? Let's start watching this show."
Yeah.
So, like, everybody, like, like, Drag Race, YouTube, and then during the pandemic, when I started streaming, I didn't start off just doing drag. I started off as, like, strictly Dead by Daylight streamer.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's how you find, like, Deer, Avidius, like,
Yeah.
Granny, like, Elix, like, all of the Fog
Mhm.
Whispers and stuff like that, and then I was like, "Oh, I've always loved drag," and, like, I've done it in my bedroom a few times with, like, the pissant lashes I do have and shit like that. And then I think when I started doing charity streaming, I made one of my incentives, like, I think it was like a Trixie Mattel tutorial, like, following along and, like, doing an incentive. Uh, and then my community really liked it and was like, keep going. And then I tried my own looks, and then I just started performing live in August of this year. So
Oh wow.
I've only been performing live for a few months.
Wow. I thought
Um,
you've been doing it for years. Your look is it's so unique and it's so
my God.
polished and professional. Like you look great.
Oh, see, today I had like a moment, and I tweeted out a picture. I was like, this is January of last year of, like, my makeup look, and, like, where I am now is completely different. And I
Yeah.
don't feel like it's like, if you would have asked me if my makeup's changed, I would have been like, not really, but, like, looking at pictures, I'm like, oh my God, it has
Yeah.
changed a lot. So, like, I definitely still think there's room for improvement. I've never thought my look was polished. Thank
I think
you.
it's great. Yeah, and yeah, I feel like it's really unique too. Where it has aspects that I think are like um drag esque, but like they're still uniquely you.
Well, I'm trying to look like
Yeah.
a man trying to look like a woman. So I gotta
Going
slap
through
some
processes
spackle
there.
on. I gotta slap
Yeah.
some
You
stuff
bind you
on.
bind your chest to put on a chest plate.
I honest
Just
to
kidding.
God, I want to get a chest plate really bad because wearing all the bras is so uncomfortable, and then I can't wear, like,
Yeah.
certain outfits because I have, like, 6 bra straps, and I'm like,
Yeah.
if I got a chest plate, it would be a game changer. But some of the
Yeah.
queens think I'm crazy here for wanting that because they're like, you got real titties, use them, and I'm like, but a chest plate would be so easy.
Yeah.
It would be hot
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, I'm excited that like I don't think I'll I say this now, but you never know. I don't think I'll ever like perform live in drag.
I said that a year
But
ago.
like I'm having fun where I'm at now, but I'm really grateful that I've like documented my whole process so far.
Do.
Like I had never glued down my brows before I filmed myself gluing down the brows. And I'm really glad that I like have that to look back on and to grow from, you
Oh, I
know?
tell people, take, like,
Uh,
if you're just starting out, take pictures of every single thing you do, like, take progression pictures because it's gonna, like, really surprise you. Like, even me, like, when I first performed just a couple of months ago, like, I look completely different now, and, like, I think that's
yeah.
crazy. I don't
I
think
feel
I
like
would have stayed doing drag, though, or, like, definitely wouldn't have performed live if people hadn't bullied me into it, but it was because of, like, the local queens here, so supportive, and there's, like, maybe only 2 AFAB drag creators here, like, locally where I live. There's a shit ton of queens, but there's just, like,
Mhm.
not a lot of, women in this space, and I'm the only
Yeah.
one that does, drag queen, um, like, looks. So I
Mhm.
thought coming in, people would think it was, like, would be a little bit more standoffish, but everyone here has been, and they're the reasons why I'm still doing it or do it in the first place performing, because I
I
don't think
love that.
I would have left my room if they
Yeah.
wouldn't have bullied me
I
into
love
it.
that. London started like trying to get me to do it live, and I'm like, I don't know, girl. That like it took me 2.5 hours to do the deer look. I did it on Sunday, the second run through, and it took me a shit ton, so much time. And then I was like, I just put in so much work to get here, and now you have to go and perform. Like, no, I'm too tired. I don't want to. What the
Oh,
fuck?
you
No.
should see brunch shows. We're up at like 6:30 in the morning for like a brunch show because it
Yes.
does take me about 3 hours to, like, glue down my brows, do the makeup, make sure, like, I have everything on to get to the gig, everything packed for the gig. I usually do the night before.
it's a whole thing. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've traveled with London as they um perform in places and do drag and stuff, and I'm like, girl, no, I don't want to do this. But I'm happy to be a supporter and whatever else, but I don't think that's my journey. But
I said
at this
that
point,
too.
who knows?
I said
I
that
know at this
too.
point, who fucking knows? But
I was like, nah, I'll
um
just stick with virtual drag. And they're like, nah, come on. And
yeah.
now I have no weekends and no money, so.
um yeah, I found drag kind of the opposite way. So I came out of the closet in 2020, and like everybody who I was associating with on Twitch was queer. And we would do drag race watch parties.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were watching season 12. We'd go back and watch the previous seasons and stuff. We'd watch like, 7 episodes a day, whatever, just polishing like going through all of the seasons and stuff like that. I haven't seen all of them still, but I've gotten around. And then I didn't see my first live show until last year. It was one of London's shows, and I was so like I had met London a couple of times out of drag before that.
Mm-hmm.
This was like last June, and but then like Queens look totally different, right? It's like I feel like it's similar to roller derby, where like you have a second name and then you have a second look. Like you look different when you're in full roller derby garb. You look different when you're in full drag queen look,
Mm-hmm.
and I like she looked beautiful. My bisexual little heart was like, who is this beautiful woman? And then she's like on stage performing, and she like makes eye contact with me, and my stupid ass waved. I waved to her, and she incorporated a little wave back to me, and I was like, what the fuck? What am I doing? I'm like a toddler, like, hello. But yeah, that was my first live show, and then like I just was hooked. I loved
Yeah.
it so much. Like they were doing Britney Spears themed drag shows, they were doing Lady Gaga, they were doing like uh, gaming ones, and I just loved it. And now we go to shows all the time, and like it was shortly after that first drag show where London had a medical procedure done and texted me and was like, I'm bleeding from my face. And I was like, let me grab some things. I'll be right there. And so I like packed my little med kit and went over to her house, and she was laying face flat down on her couch in the dark. And I was like, bestie, hello, bestie. And then I go over, and she's like, can't talk, just grumbling at me,
Nurse
and I,
Queenie to the rescue.
literally. I start patching her up, and I start her on pain pills and stuff like that. And within 30 minutes, she's back up and out, and she goes, I'm supposed to be at a show tonight. Do you think I could still go? And I was like, I could go with you, and I'll just keep track of your pain meds. And like I'll just hand them to you, and you can keep going. And she was like, okay, let me make some phone calls. Comes back into the room a few minutes later. It's like, okay, we're going to an alpaca farm. And I was like, what? Come again? And she was like, yeah, I'm doing a show at an alpaca farm at 2 hours away.
How do I get that gig? How do I get that gig?
Okay, here we go. And so we went to an alpaca farm, and she performed.
Who's booking that?
She had like literally, I don't think she didn't do it this last year, but it's like apparently a yearly thing where they like do a show at this alpaca farm.
That's amazing.
Like 10 alpacas hanging around these drag queens. Anyway, and she had like 4 different shows that weekend. That was like a Saturday night, and then she had 3 other shows on Sunday. And I was like, I'll just come with you. And so I would hand her medication, and she would take it, with water or whatever. And I kept her afloat. And after that, like you go through a weekend like that, and you're bonded for life, So after that weekend, we just stayed close and stuff. But yeah, that's how I found drag. And I think I love drag so much because it gives no fucks, like I have PCOS, and so like sometimes I grow facial hair, and I have body hair that's not considered womanly or feminine. But I see these drag queens who like, they're not wearing tights, and they've got their pubes coming out their thongs, and like they still have feminine energy. They still embrace it,
Yeah.
Or like bearded queens, love bearded queens. Like so clearly feminine, right? Still embracing that energy,
I love a
but
bearded
have
queen.
full beards.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. At that, like, it changed how I viewed gender and femininity and what like being a woman to me is. And once I changed that definition, I'm like, oh, I am definitely a woman. Because a lot of people with PCOS identify as like intersex.
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem like a term that doesn't fit me, you know? But I see these other people who like trans women, whether or not they've had any procedures done, women, you know, like it doesn't matter if you present masculinely or if you have masculine features. Like if you're a woman, you're a woman, you know? Like, and I love drag because it helped me make that distinction in my mind. And now I feel like I have no problems accepting my body for what it is. Like I have body hair, who cares? You know, I'm still a woman. Or like I'm plus size, who cares? I'm still a woman, you know?
Yeah, that's
And,
the
like,
great thing about drag is it doesn't stick to the binary, you know? It's not one size fits all. It's like whatever you want it to be, which is cool.
Exactly. Exactly. And I love that so much.
And I want to be a no leg shaving, no nail wearing drag queen. And I can.
Yeah.
And I do.
With giant titties that may or may not be real, you know? Maybe I'm wearing 6 bras, maybe I'm not wearing any, you know?
The 6 bras definitely, there's a shelf to put dollars on after, you know, so many bras. They come up there. Man, are they uncomfortable though. God damn.
Jesus. Yeah, I don't even wear like normal bras at this point. I just wear sports bras.
Yeah, if I'm not in drag, I'm in pajama pants right now. I am no makeup. You're lucky if like I'm not in a bun. Definitely always a cardigan. That is like whenever I go to bars here, like I will see people I've performed with and like they'll be like, "Hi, it's nice to meet you." And I'm like, "Bitch, like I know I'm in a little less eyeliner, but like
I know I'm only wearing 1 bra right now instead of my usual 6, but it's still me.
I was like, I know I'm in jeans and a sports bra, but like Marv didn't tip you off. I still go by Marv. Like
they're like, I know a queen named Marv.
Yeah, they're like, that's so funny.
Just kidding.
And then a bunch of people don't realize I'm a woman too. So like I'll like be performing at shows and Arturo's like, you know, sitting out there and he'll hear people go, "Oh my god, this one looks really feminine." And he just thinks it's like really funny. He's like, "Oh my god."
The next question I have is, how did you find Twitch?
Arturo. He's a golden retriever by wife energy gaming little nerdy nerd. So he's always had Twitch. Like he's always had it on his phone, and so like I've always, you know, known what it is. And then during the pandemic, I met a bunch of friends on Twitter through liking drag, and then we all started watching Trixie do Twitch Tuesdays during the pandemic. I love like scary games. So then we started playing like Dead by Daylight, and I was like, oh shit, like this would be fun to stream to like my 6 friends on Twitter, like so they could like watch. They don't play, but like, you know, it's fun to watch. And then I just started streaming to my 6 friends on Twitter, and then it just kind of like boop, 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 boop. I had like a couple of TikToks like do fine, and then it like really started to like do up, and then it's just how it happens.
I'm a creature of YouTube. I still every night I cannot fall asleep without YouTube. And I was still am a huge Jenna Marbles fan. And Jenna Marbles, you know, famously is now married.
Her wedding pictures were so cute.
I bawl my eyes out anytime I see a picture of her. So she's married now to Julian. They've been together for years, and before I made my account in 2018 on Twitch, and it was because they had just talked about like TwitchCon and how like it was a small thing and like their Twitch community was small and like, you know, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I would get to be able to talk to Julian. Like that's so cool. And so I made an account for that. And then he was playing games with Julian Solomita was playing games with Jason Sully. And so I started following him. And then in the pandemic, I was watching them both, I think, play this game that looked terrifying, and I don't mind scary things, but I'm not like a scary fiend like some people. Um, but I was like, oh my god, he's playing as Nancy Wheeler. Like that's so weird. What a game has Nancy Wheeler in it? And then I was like, oh my god, there's also Chips Ahoy Steve. What is this? And then I like see them getting murdered, and I'm like, they're being murdered by Michael Myers. What fever dream did I just wake up to? And so I was like watching on my phone, and I was telling Dan, I was like, Dan, do you have like, I know you don't like scary things, but you have to check out this game. It's got like Stranger Things and Michael Myers, and they're talking about a Vami Mommy. I don't know who these people are, but like, slay. And so then he made an account, and we would watch them both play. And then Jason started playing. I found the queer community through the same stream. Jason was playing games with Say Hey Rocco, the cat puppet. Oh, R.I.P. cat puppet. I love Rocco so much. And I was like, what? Just adding on to the fever dream. You're watching a cat puppet play video games. So good. And then one day Rocco raided into Kill Cannon, and we were in Kill Cannon's chat, and he's like talking. He plays killer a lot, and we were like, who is this man? He is so handsome. His voice is so nice. What is this place? Are we home? Is this family? And just fell in love with him and his community, and ended up becoming really close friends with him. He like, when we moved to Seattle, he lives out here too. He like picked up the keys to our apartment and stuff, and he's like a brother to me, you know, which is pretty cool. But after like we'd been in the community I think for a few months, and then he asked me to be a mod for the channel, and so I was a mod, and then I started modding for other channels, and it's like once the ball starts rolling, it really starts rolling, you know, like once you have a little bit of mod experience. Yeah. And then I had been a moderator for like 2 years. And somebody was like, you should stream. And I was like, nah, I don't think so. I'm fine being just a moderator. And then I was like, well, I guess I could stream Animal Crossing. Like, I like Animal Crossing. And so I streamed, my first stream was just about a year ago, which is crazy to think about. Yeah. Like in January it'll be a year, and I streamed Animal Crossing one time. I hated it. Did not like streaming Animal Crossing. I love Animal Crossing, but did not enjoy streaming it. But quickly found Fortnite after I started, and now I mostly stream Fortnite. But I also love story games. I love games with stories. So right now I'm playing Beacon Pines, and it's so good. But yeah, I kind of went into another question, which was, when did you stream for the first time? So when did you start streaming? In 2020?
Yeah.
It is so wild to me. People who are like, I watched Twitch one time and thought I could stream. And I'm like, part of me is like appalled, because I'm like, I watched stream for 4 years before I was like, maybe I could do this. Because it's like, I think it's the avenue in which I found Twitch and streaming, because I found it from professional YouTubers, like YouTubers with millions of subscribers. And so in my mind, I was like, oh, professional people do this.
Yeah, it seems like untouchable to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Zapster is another one who I've become friends with over the last couple of months, almost a year. Oh, that's weird. But yeah, he was like, yeah, I watched Twitch a couple of times, and I was like, oh, this seems fun, and just started streaming. And I'm like, what? Where do you get the confidence to do this stuff? But yeah.
I thought it would just be me doing it to like my 6 friends and like Arturo listening in the other room if he like wanted to. But I mean, I don't stream as much anymore just because of like, I hate to say I'm like so busy, because I could find time to do streams like if I really wanted to. But like between now, like I have like 3 jobs. Now I'm performing. I'm like trying to like help queens here and like gigs here, like behind the scenes stuff. Like I'll do mixes for queens, or like the flyers for the show, and like I help with like audition tapes for stuff coming up. And it's like,
ooh. Are you being a superstar or super monster?
Not me.
Or
not
person?
me. Superstar.
Slay.
Yeah, they have the glamour. They don't have so much of the filth
I
or
see, I see.
the horror. But now, and when I'm now, I'm just so involved with being on the board for Stream for a Cause.
Yeah.
So I'm still involved in the Twitch community and like still do stuff daily with Stream for a Cause and like Twitch stuff. I just don't have the time to do it myself anymore. But I'm hoping to find another job soon that like maybe be a little bit more lax. And maybe I'll come back. Maybe I'll do my big debut again. But until then,
I
it's
would love
just
that. Please.
it's just casual when I do stream.
Yeah, and I feel like that's valid. I feel like you can stream as a hobby or you can like stream as a career, but I say that lightly. Like, I feel like there are people who stream to become partner or like stream regularly and stuff for like the opportunities, which I think is like the path I want to take. But like, I'm not quitting my day job, you know?
I think that's why I like Twitch so much is it's just so accessible to anybody. Like you can
Yes.
anybody can do it. Like you don't have to have a camera or you don't have to have a nice setup or you don't have to do it regularly. You can do it whenever you want to. There are no rules with Twitch.
It's like makeup,
Yeah.
It's like makeup and drag, all drag is valid,
Yeah, if you don't want to stream regularly, if you want to stream like specific stuff or if you cam or no cam or like, whatever. Like,
yeah. There's a market there.
Right.
I feel like I had this interesting conversation with somebody last night where so I go through these phases where I'm like you have to have the spark. You have to have the, I think, you hear people talk about like, I think about it if you've ever watched the Katy Perry documentary. It was on Netflix years ago, but there's people who say like, oh, I met this famous person before they were famous, but I knew they would be famous because they had the thing, the spark, the thing, the it factor, whatever you call it, the riz, and
the razzle dazzle,
the rizzle dazzle, the razzle dazzle, the vajazzle dazzle, and sometimes I'm like, do I have the thing? Do I have what it takes, basically? And I was talking to somebody last night about it, and because it's like sometimes I think that way, and then there's sometimes where I'm like, no, you like if you get your content out to enough people, if it's what you want to do, like if it's what you want to pursue, you get your content out to enough people, and your people will find you. Your audience will find you. There are 7 billion people on this planet, and some of them, a significant quantity, are like you. You just have to find them,
Oh, there's definitely an audience for everyone, and everyone can stream, but that doesn't mean everyone's going to be good at streaming.
Yeah. But even if you're not good at streaming, you can still do it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's going to be an audience for people who want to watch a bad stream. You know what I mean?
That's the same thing with drag. Anybody can do drag. Can they do it well? Yeah. Maybe not, but you can still do drag.
Gonna be people, like,
but there's still going to be people who like your drag. There's an audience for it.
Season 3 of Dragula somewhat in the last couple of weeks, and what's the queen? Louisiana Purchase was on there, and one of the judges was like, this is gonna sound bad, but I mean it as a compliment. You do bad drag well. And I'm like, that does sound like an insult, but like they took it as a compliment because it like there's a style of drag that's like not polished. It's tacky or whatever, but people love it, But yeah, anyway. And then like, so I was having this discussion last night with the person of like, do I have the riz? Do I have the thing, the factor? And the person was like,
I think everybody has their own razzle dazzle. Yeah.
And like the thing is fake. It's not real. It's Schrodinger's cat, like there's nothing in the box, like it's fake. If you want it, you have it, It's
right.
It's
fake it till you make it.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah. I think we'll finish up with one last question, and then we can save the rest of these for next time. The stream or drag moments that you're proud of.
Oh. I'll do a quick one for both because I think the stream moment I'm proud of the most is the charity stream where we raised over $1,000 for Stream for a Cause. I think that was one of my most exciting Twitch moments Because I think we set the goal at like $400, and I was like, even that was like really scary to me. But and I don't have a huge community on Twitch. Like, I don't have a big following. I don't stream regularly. Like, I don't have this like big active Discord or like anything going on. So like for the people who like came into my stream and popped in to like raise $1,000 was a major slay. I think I cried on stream, and I'm not a big public crier. I cry often, but it's in the shower, with the lights turned off. So not a lot of people see me cry, so that was exciting. And then I guess the drag moment I'm most proud of the last year is, I guess, performing live. Because I mean, I would go to all of the drag shows here, so like most of the queens knew me because I came to every gig, and so like they followed me on Instagram and saw that I was like doing drag virtually, and then they grabbed me by the ankles and pulled me out of my bedroom to come to a show. But I remember being really nervous. My first show, it was the week of my birthday. I'm in August, yeah. I was nervous, but it was fun. And now I've done a handful since then, so.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I think my proudest stream moment is also a charity stream that I did for Stream for a Cause, because I was so nervous. I put so much work into it. I think you were there for the stream.
It was a really good stream.
I was so good. And I broke it up into 2 parts because I was like, I did a 10-hour stream, and then the day before, it was my longest stream ever. But one of the redemptions was a 12-hour stream, and I still haven't done it yet. So that'll be coming sometime. But I broke it up into 2 parts, and the first day I was like, I had this canvas that I still have. It's on the other side of my desk, but I was like, I'll do like an art incentive stream where, like, you know, for $5 you can pick my paintbrush or whatever. And I was like, if I could hit $100 this first day, like in the art stream, I'll be happy. And then I met my first goal, and I was like bawling my eyes out. I was so emotional. It was wild. And I remember just like Robbie was in chat, was like, what the fuck? Because even before like this stream, I met with
Ryan.
Yeah. And they were like, you know, what's your CCV? And I told them, and they were like, okay, like with the goals that you have, they're good goals, but maybe save your top goal, because like right now with your CCV, if everyone who in your CCV donated $100, you still wouldn't hit your top goal. So like maybe just save it, and then you have something extra. Like you don't want to be disappointed. You don't want to think like you don't want your community to feel like they haven't succeeded or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, fair, okay, you know, like it kind of set my expectations. And then we smashed every fucking goal, and we raised the end total was $2,001, and like that's so cool. I was so tickled pink, and like I just had so much support.
I remember being in that stream.
That was really, yeah, you were there, and I was like, yeah. That was really cool. That was a fun time. But yeah, I think that's my favorite Twitch moment. But
now we need to get you to do your 12-hour stream.
I know. There's so many, the planning that some of these streams take.
Ugh.
Like another one of the redemptions was a Trixie Mattel cosplay, and I'm going all out. But I just recently learned that I probably won't be able to execute it until March, which sucks because my charity stream is in August, you know, and I like still haven't gone through some of these redemptions, but they just take time.
They
like,
do. Oh my god.
But yeah.
Anyway. Have you seen the clip of me getting hit by my door?
No, I don't think so.
My first 12-hour stream, like 20 minutes into my stream, I did like a subathon for like a 12-hour thing, and every time someone would sub, I'd go put like their name on my wall. So I went to go slap like a note card on my wall, and as I'm walking away, my closet door falls off the hinges and smacks me in the back. Okay, I'm sending you the clip. It's so funny, but that was
Dude, that sounds terrifying, but also great. That people getting injured on stream.
Oh yeah. I had it like as a redemption to like play the clip of me getting smacked by the door in the back of the head.
I remember, like I'm one of the few licensed medical professionals on Twitch. So, word gets out, and people like there was one time in 2020, my phone is blasting. I've got Discord messages, text calls from people, and they're like, you're needed in Fane's chat, Faneris's chat right now. And I was like, what the fuck happened? And one of my friends goes, he just chopped his toe off on accident. And I was like, what?
On stream?
Yeah, I pop into his chat. He's like hunched over holding his foot. And I was like, hello, I'm here. How can I help? And he had stubbed his toe on a door jamb so hard that it took off a chunk of his pinky toe. And so, like, while he's live, he's like messaging me pictures, and I was like, okay, what do you have? How can I, like, here's what you need to do. And I like helped him get bandaged up, and he was like, is it gonna fall off? And I was like, probably not. Your nail might, but like, here's, you know, like.
Did he have to get stitches? What happened?
No, I think he ended up just bandaging it, and it ended up being fine. I think it looked a lot worse than it actually was, but just like people getting injured on stream, and it's like, call the nurse, please. But
I kind of wish the door would have knocked me out cold, because I was like, can you imagine if that was? Can you imagine if I got knocked out cold on stream?
Next time a door falls on you while you're live, just go with it.
Yeah, I should have just played dead.
Yeah, go be like the soccer players, you know.
Yeah, hindsight.
They like when a gust of wind blows near them and they fall over, you know.
It did not go viral on TikTok, but it did on Reddit, and then I got into a couple of YouTube compilations of like Twitch fails.
Well, here we are at the end of Twitchy. This is our first episode. Yay! But
I'm excited. Yeah. I think we're gonna have fun.
Yeah, I am having fun. This is fun. It's nice to just have another person to talk to, you know?
Yeah. And I think what's going to be fun about it is, like, we're not, like... I mean, we've been mutuals for, like, months to, like, almost maybe... When did you join Stream for College? Like, it's been months. Like, we've known each other for months. But, like, this is, like, our, like, second, third Discord call. So, like...
Yeah. And I feel like we really connected because you're, like, my TikTok friend.
You know? Oh, yeah. We send each other funny TikToks.
Yeah, and I feel like I saw you on TikTok a lot, and then it was like shortly after that I was like, oh, you're involved with Stream for a Cause, you know? But then it was like after that we, you know, we're messaging on Discord or on TikTok, and so I feel like you're my TikTok friend that now also is the drag queen and does stream stuff and all the things, and I love that.
Yeah, and now people get to watch the sparks fly between us as this grows. It's a will they, won't they?
The first episode that we do live in person, maybe it won't be on YouTube. Maybe it's not a podcast. Maybe it's an OnlyFans moment. I'm just kidding.
Patreon's only.
Only hams. But yeah, this is Twitchy. So I think we'll keep going, doing more questions next time.
Yeah.
But yeah, stream, drag, queer, adjacent, Twitchy. Here we are. This is it. Slay.
This is what it takes.
Slay. This is the Riz, the razzle vajazzle.
This is the razzle vajazzle. This is what it takes.
Yeah, so this is Twitchy. Thank you everybody for watching our first episode, whoever's here. You know, we're queer, we're women, we're doing bisexual women, pansexual things, you know?
I'll put links in the bios. I'll put our links in the bios.
Yeah. And in our next episode we'll keep going on these questions, and then we'll see what else
life has in store for us. We'll just see where it goes.
We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes.
I will hit end record. But okay, I hope everybody had fun.
I did have fun.
I had a lot of fun.
Mwah.